kwenye kilele cha Mount Kenya hadi mabonde ya Keio Valley. Hii ni Sound Candid Talk. Tunajipenyeza kwenye vitongoji, mijini na jijini kukuletea matokeo ya matukio kila yanavyoibuka.
So mmefunga huko nje ndio tusikuwe na interruption for the next few minutes that we engage. Do you have any of members of staff there, NSCCCU who wanted to come in, who's hung around? Okay, fine. So you can go from there. So I'm ready to go when you are. Members of the press, you're ready? Yes. Okay, thank you. I want to welcome you this afternoon to the Office of the Governor of Kiambu County. I want to issue a press statement, which is a rejoinder, or rather a rebuttal, if you like, because yesterday most of you were present when you were invited for a press release by one of our investors in Kiambu County, Tatu City, which is a press briefing that did not cast the matters as present in the relationship between the county government of Kiambu and Tatu City in the truthful and correct way. It was a press briefing that was calculated to achieve certain results, and those results were clearly intended to malign the name and person of the governor of Kiambu County and members of staff of this government, and also to cast doubts and malign the government of Kiambu County as it is, because the matters that are indeed factual between that relationship are clear. The documentation is here. We shall be giving you the documentation, and we shall also invite any questions that you have. First, let me read my statement, and then I'll make a few clarifications in between. So we, the county government of Kiambu, feel compelled to address and correct the misleading and malicious claims made by the management of Tatu City regarding the approval of their revised master plan. It is with great dismay that we witness the attempt to tarnish my administration's reputation by spreading grossly distorted information in the matters at hand. First and foremost, my administration values, respects, and appreciates all investors in Kiambu County, and we have a policy to support them all. It is uncustomary for us to address our investors through a press conference. We are, however, compelled to do so, since Preston Mendaho, the Chief Operating Officer of Tatu City, decided to break this unwritten rule. So Tatu City, which has operated in Kiambu for 14 years and has about 5,000 acres of land under development, applied for a revision of their master plan. They wanted to address emerging trends on residential and industrial needs. In their submitted master plan, originally, 406 acres of land had been reserved for public amenities, which the Tatu City management have now downscaled to 103 acres, according to Preston. For land of approximately 5,000 acres, the expected land to be surrendered for public use ought to be about 10%, which translates to about 500 acres of land. This is to address the needs of ordinary members of public, who include the lower cadre, workers within the industrial park, and residential areas, such as those in the industries, housekeepers, cleaners, security personnel, and their families. These public amenities will also serve the larger population in Ruiru municipality and the entire of Kiambu County. Since its formation 14 years ago, Tatu City has not surrendered any part, not even an inch of land to the county government of Kiambu as prescribed by law. The county government of Kiambu has requested Tatu City to surrender land for public use as per the Physical and Land Use Planning Act of 2019, popularly known as PLUPA, and the Physical and Land Use Planning Development Permission and Control General Regulations of 2021. Also, Section 55, 58, and the third schedule, Section 7, and Section 7 of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act guides the subdivision, amalgamation, and surrender of public land. These regulations mandate private developers to allocate land for public facilities, such as schools, hospitals, fire stations, recreation areas, police stations, playgrounds, and other public utilities. Regulation 9, 3, and 4 of the Physical and Land Use Planning, Development, Permission, and Control General Regulations 2021 further adds, where required by the county executive member, suitable and adequate land shall be surrendered by the applicant at no cost to the county government for open spaces, amenities, recreational facilities, road reserves, a public purpose relating to the area to be subdivided for road or widening, for road widening. Public purpose is defined to mean land designated for use by public, for public, and any public purpose, including public buildings, schools, libraries, hospitals, factories, regional institutions, and public housing. Public purpose includes housing for public or civil servants. The Land Registration Act 2012 explicitly states that land surrendered for public purposes shall be registered in the name of the county government or the cabinet secretary responsible for finance matters. Therefore, it is insincere for the management of Tatu City to claim that we are seeking land for private use. I also wish to clarify that the county government of Kiambu has requested land to be surrendered by Tatu City solely for public utility purposes. Contrary to the allegations, my administration is not seeking land for personal or individual use. Our track record on public land speaks for itself. As governor, I have consistently prioritized the protection and proper utilization of public land, and this is a position that I will not bend or compromise. This is the position I expressed during my first meeting with Tatu City management, including Preston, on December 8th, 2023, and the video recordings are available. We have the video there. After I read this statement, we'll play it so that you are able to see what transpired between myself, the management of Kiambu County, and the management of Tatu City at that first and only meeting. And I want to emphasize, as I read this, that there has been only one physical meeting between me as the governor and the management of Tatu City regarding the matters of the revised master plan. All other communication has been via one, correspondence, and secondly, through a lawyer who was sent here to represent Tatu City and consult with us, which I will be explaining. So ladies and gentlemen of the press, let me state the facts as they are. During various meetings, some of which I have personally attended, and through several correspondences, we have provided copies of the correspondence. We will give you copies each. We have been unequivocal about what Tatu City is required to do to meet the expectations of the people of Kiambu. The key issue has been setting aside land for public use. The county government of Kiambu has requested Tatu City to surrender land as per the Physical and Land Use Planning Act of 2019, PLUPA. I think I've read that. And the Physical and Land Use Planning Development Permission Control General Regulations 2021. I've also stated about Section 25, Section 55, 58, and Schedule 7 of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act, which guides subdivision, amalgamation, and surrender of public land. That I've also read about the regulation 110.2. Let me just take that again, that these regulations mandate private developers allocate land for public facilities such as schools, hospitals, fire stations, recreational areas, police stations, playgrounds, and other public utilities. Regulation 10.2, Physical and Land Use Planning, Development, Permission, and Control General, Regulations 2021 further adds that where required by the county executive member, suitable and adequate land shall be surrendered by the applicant at no cost to the county government for open spaces, amenities, recreational facilities, road reserves, and for public purpose relating to the area to be subdivided, and as I said, for road widening. The part on public purpose, I think that one, as I had read. As a condition for reviewing and approving the master plan, the county government of Kiambu has officially, in writing, requested Tatu City to surrender land for public amenities, including 10 acres for social housing to accommodate low cadre workers within the industrial park, and the residential areas such as those in the industries, for housekeepers, cleaners, security personnel, and their families. We also requested 44 acres for a stadium, community center, social hall, hospital, and administration offices. 2 acres for the construction of the governor's official residence. In accordance with the law and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC guidelines, for the avoidance of doubt, this will be a public facility registered in the name of the county government and not in the governor's name. My private property, not in the governor's name, and is not private property. That is contained in a gazette notice, and circular is provided. The SRC circular is specific on these 2 acres of land. We have that in the bundle that we'll give you. It's also important to note that the 54 acres requested is just but a drop in the ocean of the 406 acres that were earmarked for public use during the approval of the initial master plan. As I said earlier, that the land under development in Tatu City right now is about 5,000 acres. So if you calculate that, we've said at 10%, that tells you it's approximately 500 acres. But we've also confirmed that in the earlier request for the approval of the master plan, 406 acres had already been set aside for public use. So it is therefore dishonest for Preston under the tutorship of a few politicians, and this we are clear about, because what Preston was doing yesterday is playing to the gallery and dancing to political tunes which he had been lured into, thinking that they could coerce us by threatening that they are going to scandalize us, that we would give in. So it is therefore dishonest that Preston, under the tutorship of a few politicians of ill will, chose to mislead the public with defamatory and offensive statements against the county government and its leadership during the press conference yesterday. And I dare say that it's very unbecoming, very unbecoming. It's unprecedented that a man of Preston's standing, with the confidence that has been given to him by a lot of investors, whom we welcome, as I said, in Kiambu, and whom we respect and whom we shall protect, should opt to give himself up to political schemes in the county. and thinking that we as a county government are going to bend the law. A man of present standing should be aware that there are organs of government mandated with investigations of merit-worthy and credible claims, and he chose to play to the gallery by addressing a press conference. While of course it is clear that if he had made any merit of distortion, of being extorted, then he knows all the organs. The entity has been here for 14 years. He knows that we have the DCI, we have the police, we have EACC. They are credible places where you make allegations if they are truthful. But calling for a press conference and saying that he loves the media, we all love the media, but we know what to take where. And that was just intended to achieve one goal, to scandalize us, with the intention of scaring us that as political leaders will be scared not to state facts as they are. So we have been in touch with the management of Tatu City as evidenced in the following correspondences. We have them here, we'll share with the media. There was a letter that was dated September 18th, 2023, that was shared also with the National Director for Physical Land Use and Planning on the approval of the master plan. There's a letter dated September 26, 2023 to Tatu City as a response to the outstanding issues. There's a letter dated 8th of December 2023 where we discussed the outstanding issues again relating to the approval, and a letter dated 7th of March 2024, a response to the National Director on the amended physical and land use plan. There was a letter dated again on the 16th of April 2024 on the pending issues. Further correspondence also again was received by us via an email on the 6th of July 2024 by Mr. Preston himself, where he threatened the CEC lands that within one day, if she did not append her signature, then we would face the consequences. That was just one day before he called the press conference. But a letter had come first via email threatening the CEC with dire consequences if she did not sign the master plan approval within one day. There was also a meeting here in my office with lawyers who had been sent by Tatu City. And what we need to clear here, which I'll also explain with facts, is that when the first lawyers were sent by Tatu City, we explained the circumstances and the law that all public land should vest as per the Constitution in the county government. The lawyer who had been sent here agreed with us. And it is apparent that when that lawyer whom they had sent themselves agreed and promised that she was going to have a discussion with Tatu City and impress upon them the facts that they cannot negotiate what is provided for in the law about the custody of public land in the county government. It's apparent they did not like that lawyer after that. So yesterday when they were sending other correspondence, indeed they were using a different lawyer who may have advised them differently. The county government of Kiambu remains committed to providing a conducive environment for both local and foreign investors, recognizing the crucial role in job creation and economic growth in our county. And this remains our topmost commitment. Our doors remain open for constructive engagement with all investors, including Tatu City. We are more than willing to continue the conversation without compromising public trust and expectations. And prior to the press conference at Tatu City yesterday, the county government had also written a letter that was dated 8th of July 2024, in which we had invited the management of Tatu City to a meeting on Tuesday, the 16th July of 2024 to address those pending matters. That is this coming Tuesday. But apparently, Mr. Preston had already written an email which he was threatening the CEC lands with dire consequences if she did not append her signature to that approval. And Just to make matters clear so that we can close and allow any questions that may be there. Number one, I said that in the one and only physical engagement we have had with Tatu City, we went there as the government of Kiambu. And for clarity once more, let me state that since 14 years ago, not 1 inch of land, 1 inch out of the entire 5,000 acres that has been developed has ever been surrendered to the county government of Kiambu. I made this position very clear when we went for our first meeting, that to take care of all those people who work in Tatu City and walk there every day, for those thousands of house helps, watchmen, the street sweepers, all the lawn mowers and gardeners and factory workers who are going to be working in those factories, and the more than 22,000 houses they are building to sell to people of means, that the children of those house helps, the sons and daughters of those watchmen who will be working there, requires to be secured by the law and provided for amenities where the children can go to school, where they themselves can go and seek the services of a police station, where when the daughter of a house help or a cleaner falls sick, they can go to an affordable hospital within the premises. And that is why the law, as provided, protects the poor and also secures the rights of those that have means and that are rich. In this case, the law requiring surrender of public land is intended to protect the weak in community. So when the schools in Tatu City charge a premium fee to educate a child of one that is blessed with means at hundreds of thousands of shillings per term, it is the requirement of law that that land set aside should also have an ECD class for the son of a watchman in Tatu City. And that is the work of government to protect those interests. And as I said, when we went to the first meeting, I made that clear that the governor of Kiambu and our administration, neither Kiambu County as a whole, are not interested in land for any other use other than for public use. So that impression that was created is erroneous. We have a clip there that I want to be played so that you can see what transpired in our meeting with Preston and his team the first day when we went there, and the resolutions that were made. So you can just play it so that members of the media can see and exactly what I said in that meeting.
Which also gives us a unit of the critical infrastructure protection. And we find our top two cities, so we're regulated by the government.
You can rewind it so that they can all set first. Why don't you rewind it? So let them first set, because it's important for it to be clear. What did we say and where are we?
Which also gives us a unit of the critical infrastructure in the fiber of Tatu City, so we're located regulated by the government, but
We are not interested in an inch of land at all, neither for the governor or for any of my people, and it is my policy that our advance signature is our integrity. We are changing the story the way it has been. When it comes to matters that we must all agree upon, that this requires to be done in public interest, in the interest of a better tomorrow for our children and our citizens. On those ones, we are very firm.
I conclude the two things that I wanted to say. Yes. So for clarity of understanding and for painting the true and correct picture, you have seen for yourself. And then you have heard my words when I was in that press conference, when I was in that conference and the meeting that we had been invited by Tatu City to discuss this matter. My words were unequivocal on that day, and the date is there. That was on the 8th of December, 2023. And my remarks remain unchanged. And I want Preston, wherever he is, to hear those words, to remind himself and play. He has that recording of our first meeting. They also recorded the meeting. And I said to them with uncertain terms that our bond is our integrity. And that is the standard I've upheld in Kiambu since I became governor. And I will still uphold it. I will not be bent. And as condescending as Preston may be, because his attitude is extremely condescending, he's just short of still wearing that colonial mentality, where he thinks that every black man, be it a governor who is, has a price tag. I said we don't have. As the governor, I cannot be lured. Neither can I be coerced. My position is the same, even today, that the law must be followed. The law must be followed. It is very clear. We have people, and I remember on that day also telling the Tatu City team that my government is struggling in various areas. We are struggling in Mweki, in Roiro, because we can't find a single inch of land to build an ECD class for the entire of almost 500,000 people in Mweki, in Roiro. The same story is replicated in Kio Ward, in Kahawa Sukari, everywhere. I have numerous court cases today that are in court where we have been sued by previous land developers like Tatu City, who developed Kahawa Sukari. And after that, they took up all the private land, all the public land they had set aside because they insisted on retaining the public land in their name. The same thing happened to all the other subdividers of land when they were developing. And because the law was not followed. What will happen is after the entire of the 5,000 acres in Tatu City has been uptaken, then you are going to have a cluster of the lowly, the dejected, the wretched of society. What will happen is just outside Tatu City, you're going to have another Githogoro. And I want people of this county to understand and this country to understand. The reason why you have Githogoro there, where people live in subhuman conditions, is because those that have been there in leadership failed to stand up for their people against people who are condescending, like Preston, against people who label others, and they think just because they have the back that everything must be followed to what they think, to what they want. So we want to encourage all the investors in Tatu City, private, foreign, and local, that they come to Kiambu County as we uphold the law that protects the poor. We shall also uphold the law that also ensures that those that are investing also have their say, they will have their way, they will have what they're supposed to have as investors. But the balance must be upheld. We are all children of God, of one God. And we have a right that is enshrined here in this country, in our constitution. So all those things that were being said there yesterday, there was an impression that was persistently trying to be created, that there was a 2 acres of land that the governor wanted for his house. It is akin to saying that Moi Kibaki, when he was president, and God rest his soul, that he would have gone home with State House and taken it to Nyeri. It is akin to saying that when President Moi was president, and God rest his soul too, that he would have taken State House to Kabarak. That is intentional misleading. The law is here. These are documents which will give you. This is the Gazette notice and a notice by SRC dated as early as 2013. 2013, the first year of devolution, that it is incumbent upon every county government to ensure that the officers from the Speaker of the County Assembly to the Deputy Speaker, to the Deputy Governor and the Governor, that those governments have built institutions, including residential and official residences for those officers, to save the public from the house allowances. And let it be known, and I'm sure all the governors will say the same thing. The house allowance for governors was withdrawn a long time ago. So for governors like me and all the other counties who have not yet constructed an official residence, do not have house allowance, and they don't have houses to live in. That's how we live. And those are the facts. But I would also ask anyone of a different view whether the residence of the DCC in Kiambu is a private property. The DCC comes there and he lives because national government already built residential houses for their personnel. That is the requirement of law, and it is here. So that twist, and the reason why there was an insistence that there is 2 acres, which was being called 2 acres for a house, is because there was an intention to remove the limelight from the real issues. The real issues are that this letter that was shared and sent to Tatu City enumerates all the public facilities, from the hospitals to the police station to the primary schools, that are supposed to be surrendered as per plupa to be in the hands of the county government for security of those generations. Lastly, let me address the issue of, once public land has been surrendered, can a private developer then go back and seek again to retake and reallocate the same surrendered public facility? And that is the mischief that most of the developers are trying to play at, that they will allocate land for approval at approval level so that they can get the approval. Once you give them the approval and they have said we have surrendered this land for a school, they will insist that let this land remain under the name of the developer. After a few years or months, then they will seek a buyer. And if a buyer says where you had allocated the school is what they want, they run again and say we want to change the size of that land, even the location of that land, to another place. And this is one of the things that in the revision of the master plan, that's one of the things that Tatu City was trying to do, to change some of the earlier provided for public amenities. So in conclusion, we have nothing against Tatu City. We shall support Tatu City as an entity and the investors who have come to Kiambu. We are aware that we need jobs. We are going to ensure that we do the best that we can, but we are not going to allow the likes of Preston, and I want to single him out as an individual because he is not Tatu City. Tatu City is the entire entity. He is an employee of Tatu City. And he should do better on behalf of the investors who have entrusted him with that position, by not coming here to play local politics and mishandle matters. And he should know that we should live in this space respecting each other's role and ensuring that we just find compromise And where the law has to be followed, then the law must be followed. So my conclusion is that as governor of Kiambu, there's no price on my neck that will make me bend. And if it were not for you members of the fourth estate, I would have invited you to my residence, my private residence, just to confirm that I have my own house. So I don't need another one to be given by Preston. I live here in Kiambu. I live in Wangigi. I have a home there. I have a wife. I have children. We all live there and we are happy. So we don't need another one. But what we need is to ensure that those people there in Ruiru, in the other places, who will come to be laborers there, will have been preceded by a governor who has the guts to stand up for truth and family. So we are a free country, though, ladies and gentlemen. And though others may have different opinions, we are factual and we shall be guided by the law. So that's all I have to state. And I want to ask Preston that as immediately as possible, he tenders a public apology for having intentionally called a press conference to malign my name as an individual and my government. And I'll be waiting for him to do that as quickly as possible. In the absence of a public apology, I will seek redress in a court of law as an individual, because that was intended to malign me as a person. So thank you very much. May God bless all of you. Asanteni sana. We'll share these documents with you for you to be able to have a look. Yes. Yes. Yes.
There are two issues raised by Preston yesterday, which maybe you should respond to.
Yes.
One, he said Tatu City is a private entity, so there is no obligation on their part to surrender land for public use. Secondly, he says if the county government of Kiambu has to get that land, they need to buy it, and the purchase price is 4.3 billion shillings. I don't know what the response to that is, sir.
Well, okay, my fair response, because I want to be courteous with him, is that he was misquoting the law, or he was misadvised. I think it would be good that he reverts to the original and earlier lawyer that he had, whom he had sent here, who gave him the correct advice and told him that indeed that public land must be surrendered when a private developer intends to subdivide land, either to allocate that land and commit it for development. And I've read all the provisions of the laws that guide that. The law that Preston was referring to in the Land Act, that is the law that prescribes the procedure when government intends to compulsorily acquire land for purposes of infrastructure development. Like, for example, when a government wants to build a road and they will go to any place, and I think I have some fair merit to say this, because I've been a senator for 10 years and I sat in the House of Lawmaking. When government intends to build a road and they will traverse through privately owned land, then that section of the law applies, that the government has to acquire that land by volition or compulsorily, as is the case, but it must be compensated. Now, when a developer intends to subdivide land, committed to development or intends to develop it, and then occasion those displacements, the development, the invitation to residents to build new houses, to create a new community where the entire society will converge to become workers and residents and teachers, then the law provides that that developer needs to set aside land. If you would ask in fairness, And maybe let me just ask you, because I think Musembi, that question would have also been relevant if you asked it yesterday. You could have also asked Preston who paid him for the roads that were done in Tatu City. Did he go to charge government for those roads? He did the roads because they are a public necessity in Tatu City. And the same applies. But because there is this mentality that most people have had of late, and especially because of selfishness, that when you have the wherewithal and the blessings of having those huge chunks of land, if you're told that you're required to surrender part of that land to make available for those that will be serving you and your people, it sounds like a tall order. And that is why you find even with other lesser investors, same thing we are struggling even with other smaller investors who want to subdivide 10, 20 acres and build missionaries. When you tell them that you have to surrender a little bit of that land so that it can be a playground for the children who are going to be born in these houses you are selling and building, it still becomes an argument. And I believe that is the same distorted argument that Preston was trying to press yesterday, but it is carefully, properly, and absolutely dealt with by the laws that we have quoted.
So the community is not obliged to allocate funds.
Well, it is not provided for. It is important for us to state that all monies, funds that are at the disposal for use in the coffers of the county government are public funds. They are not monies of the government. They belong to the public. Those funds are normally dispensed and administered through the PFM, Public Finance Management Act. And that's what provides how public funds can be spent. It is not provided for that you can buy land where the law expressly requires that that land be surrendered. So we are not obligated. That's the point. Thank you. Asanteni sana. Yes. Ũngĩrathikĩrĩirie mĩario ya mũndũ ũcio ũraragĩire ũgwĩtwo Preston nĩ ũkuona nĩ kũnyitana nyitanĩte na ateti amwe maramwĩra nĩ wega gũthũkĩria gavana rĩtwa tondũ ũrĩa woigua ndaiga hĩndĩ no ngwaragia na gĩthũngũ. Wa mbere video ĩ harĩa ya kuonania mĩario ĩrĩa twaririe nao ndathiĩ kũu na kiugo gĩakwa kĩa mbere ndaikara thĩ ndamerire ũũ ndatuĩka gavana ndĩraikarire mwaka mũgima itarĩ ndakinyithia kũgũrũ gwakwa thĩinĩ wa Tatu City. Mwaka mũgima ndĩ gũkũ wabici ndiakinyire Tatu City. Na ndaingĩra manjĩte mũcemanio ũcio ndamerire ũndũ wa mbere kĩrĩa kĩratũmire njikare mwaka ũmwe itarĩ ndatonya gũkũ rĩ nĩ tondũ hĩndĩ ciothe andũ muona andũ moka gũkũ mwĩciragia nĩ mũgũnda marenda. Ngĩmera nĩkĩo itanoka gũkũ mwaka mũgima. No rĩu nĩ inyuĩ mwanjĩta nĩkĩo ndoka mũnjĩre ũrĩa mũrenda. Makĩhe ũhoro na mahe ũhoro ngĩcoka ngĩrĩkĩrĩria nao ngĩmera atĩrĩrĩ mĩgũnda ĩrĩa tũraria ũhoro wayo ĩyo rĩ nĩ ĩrĩa magĩrĩirwo nĩ kũnengera thirikari ĩigwo nĩ ũndũ wa kũhũthĩrwo gũteithia na kũguna mũingĩ arĩa marĩkoragwo marĩ aruti a wĩra a Tatu City kũrĩa athũngũ aingĩ na itonga ciroka kũgũra manyũmba ma goro ma mamirioni. No kũndũ kũu nĩ kũrĩ aruti a wĩra meidi na mawocimeni, andũ a kũhata, nĩ kũrĩ andũ a gũthondeka mĩtaro, nĩ kũrĩ andũ a gũtũgũta, nĩ kũrĩ aruti a wĩra a makambuni mau me kũu thĩinĩ. Andũ acio othe matirĩ mbeca ta arĩa maragũra nyũmba icio, no onao nĩ ciana cia Ngai na nĩ raiya ya Kenya mena ibandĩ na nĩ kũrĩ watho wa katiba ũheanaga maũndũ marĩa mothe maguo nĩ kũrũgamĩrĩra mũndũ ũrĩa ũciarĩtwo thĩinĩ wa bũrũri wa Kenya. Na nĩguo watho ũcio ũraiga atĩ we wĩ gĩtonga kĩna eka 5,000 rĩ warĩkia kũgaya wenderia andũ arĩa angĩ mamirioni rĩ ũririkane nĩ wagwo nĩ kũruta gacunjĩ ga 10 ona kĩrĩkanĩro gĩtagia gacunjĩ ga 10. Gacunjĩ ga 10 ka mũgũnda ũcio nĩgetha andũ aya athĩni makĩrwo natharĩ makĩrwo borithi gwakwo thibitarĩ ĩngĩhota kũrĩhwo nĩ mwana wa meidi ĩrĩa ĩtangĩhota ĩrĩa ĩtatwaragwo ciana cia itonga tondũ mwana wa gĩtonga ena kandi ya gũthiĩ thibitarĩ. Mwana wa gĩtonga ena thukuru athiaga atwaragwo iria nene ciĩna marĩtwa manene ĩrĩhagwo hakuhĩ mirioni tamu ĩmwe. Mwana wa Wocimeni mwana wa Mũhati agathiĩ kũ? Nĩkĩo watho wĩkĩrĩtwo wa kũrangĩra andũ othe. Na koguo rĩrĩa ndathire kũndũ kũu ndamerire ũhoro wa mĩario ya kuga atĩ tũtigwĩtia mĩgũnda ya raiya iyo tutingiarĩrĩria na tondu nie nĩ njiganĩire na kamũgũnda karĩa ndĩ nako hatirĩ ona kamwe kao nĩ ndametire na ona rĩu ndirenda moe maratathi o ũrĩa ndamerire mũthenya wa mbere muona harĩa video-inĩ na ũrĩa muona marũa na nĩ ũraiguire mũndũ ũcio akĩgeria kwaria akiuga atĩ akĩhũthĩra kiugo gĩa gĩthũngũ atĩ nĩ extortion atĩ nĩ gũtunywo kana nĩ kũhenio ona kĩrimũ ona angĩkorwo tũnyararĩte atĩa ta andũ airũ rĩ tondũ hihi nĩ gũtũnyarara ta andũ airũ na gũtwagira bata atĩ gũkorora geciria atĩ we wĩ kĩrimũ atĩ ona ũkiuga atĩ nĩ ũrenda gũkĩheo mũgũnda ũyũ wa kũiyarĩ atĩ ũkwandĩka marũa meleta hĩndĩ-inĩ ya thirikari ona mũici wa ũrĩa ũguthaga mbeca matatũ-inĩ ndakĩguthaga na agekĩra mũhuko atĩ gũtuĩke atĩ we ũrathiĩ gwĩtia mũgũnda wa kũhakwo naguo atĩ na ũkandĩka marũa meleta hĩndĩ-inĩ rĩu mũndũ ũcio kĩrĩkĩte nĩ gũkorwo atĩ tũmeciria tũrĩa twa tene twa ũkoroni arĩ ona tuo twakuonaga atĩ mũndũ wothe mũirũ aingĩra hau monana nake atĩ ena mbei ĩrĩa angĩgũrwo nayo warega kũgũrwo magathiĩ magaikara na ateti atĩ nĩ megũgũthũkĩria rĩtwa rĩu na tondũ niĩ ndĩ mũtungatĩri wa mũingĩ nĩkĩo ndamerire ndigwĩtigĩra ngweterera nginya rĩrĩa megwĩtĩkĩra kũrũmĩrĩra watho marehe marũa ma kuga atĩ nĩ maiga mũgũnda kando wa andũ othe arĩa magĩrĩire kũigĩrwo mũgũnda maika mau mangĩ mothe 400 rĩ matigwo nacio na wa mũthia gĩkunga nĩ atĩrĩrĩ tũraiga harĩ ĩka 5,000 rĩ harĩ watho kawaida mago nĩ gũkorwo makĩneana hakuhĩ ĩka 500 iria rĩu iramatetia ona ti 500 nĩ ĩka 54 cia gwaka thukuru cia gwaka iharo cia gũthakĩrwo nĩ ciana icio ĩkorwo thaa ici nĩ marũa tũraiga twandĩkĩre mũtũnengere ũcio ũngĩ wothe ũrĩa ũtigarĩte mangĩragĩka atĩa na koguo ngwenda kwĩra mũthũngũ ũcio atũhe gĩtĩo hanini amenye kuma hĩndĩ ya wĩyathi ona ithuĩ nĩ tũkinyũkĩtie makinya maigana ona magũthiĩ na mbere na ningĩ nĩ twamenyerire kũiganĩra na kĩrĩa twĩ nakĩo rĩu ti kĩhinda kĩrĩa tuokaga tũgagĩtitimũrwo tũkohwo na nyororo ta mbũri tũkerwo kũrĩa tũgũthiĩ rĩu nĩ twaragia na tũkaiga ũrĩa tũkwenda gũikara na ningĩ nĩ twagĩire na gĩtĩo gĩa kwĩhe ithuĩ na gĩa kũhe andũ aitũ koguo hihi angĩkĩremwo nĩ mũikarĩre ũcio no gũcarie mũndũ ũngĩ ũrĩa ũgũgĩũka ambĩte gũgĩthoma na gũtĩa andũ a gũkũ nyeuthi citũ gĩkoragwo gũkũ tondũ maita maingĩ nĩ tũimagwo gĩtĩo nĩ andũ acio nĩgetha wĩra ũrĩa ũrarutwo ũthiĩ na mbere na nĩkĩo ndaiga andũ arĩa othe marehete maũndũ manene kũrĩa Tatu City ithuĩ tũtirĩ na thĩna nao nĩ tũkũmateithia na tũnyitane nao arĩa othe marehaga mbeca magaka mafactory mũndũ ũraka manyũmba kũu acio othe nĩ tũkũmanyita moko na ũrĩa tũguo nĩ gwĩka ta thirikari twĩke nĩgetha wĩra ũcio tũgĩre na andũ aitũ mone mawĩra no mawĩra mau matigatuĩke atĩ nĩ marĩu ma kũrĩa kuma guoko gũthiĩ nda nacio ciana iria tũgatiga njiarwa na njiarwa matũre gũkũ marĩraga na nĩkĩo ndamũhe mũciano gĩkunga na mũririkani wa ndamwĩra hĩndĩ ciothe ũkageraga thĩinĩ wa bũrũri ũyũ ũkona ũrĩa kũhiana wathiĩ wakora runda mwena ũrĩa kũrĩa gũikaraga itonga ndũgatinde ũgĩcaria kũraihu kũrĩa athĩni marĩ ũmacarie gĩthogoro wathiĩ kĩrĩrĩ ũcua na wathiĩ kũrĩa gũikaragwo kũrĩa kĩrĩmani na ũthiĩ kũrĩa gũikaragwo Lavington ndũgacarie Kereni ndũgacarie kũrĩa andũ marĩ kũraihu ũmacarie Kĩbera tondũ ũguo nĩ gũkorwo kũhiana thĩinĩ wa bũrũri ũyũ tondũ andũ arĩa marĩ gwakwa mĩgũnda ĩyo mathiaga merĩkia kwĩgaĩra rĩu arĩa matarĩ magatigwo kũrĩa nĩkĩo wonaga oro handũ harĩa warora mwena wa ũrĩo nĩ itonga warora mwena wa na ona ndũgathiĩ kũraihu na gũkũ Kiambu kũngĩ ũngĩthiĩ ũrona ũguo kuona ũngĩthiĩ Limuru warũgama Limuru ũkũrũgama mwena ũyũ ũkore nĩ kũndũ gwĩtagwo Kwambĩra kũndũ kũngĩ gwĩtagwo Ngarariga kũndũ kũihũire andũ ũngĩhaica hanini ũikie maitho kũrĩa nĩ ũkuona mĩgũnda ũngĩthiĩ nginya ũcũnge kuma rũcinĩ nginya hwaĩ-inĩ ũkerwo ũyũ nĩ wa mũndũ ũmwe wa mũndũ ũmwe nĩ wa mũndũ ũmwe ũndũ ũcio tũtingĩtĩkĩra ũkorwo ũgĩthiĩ na mbere tafadhali kũu nĩkĩo ndĩroigire rĩu haha Rũirũ tũtigũgĩtuĩka atĩ ningĩ nĩ twathiĩ na mbere na ũrĩa gwatũraga tene
aga gwĩka ũguo kana aga kũrũmĩrĩra watho ũgwĩka na tu tiga Tatu City developers acio angĩ nĩ mahingĩtie watho ũcio
aingĩ ao nĩ mahingagia kuma rĩrĩa tuokire gũkũ aingĩ ao nĩ mahingagia na ngwĩciria ona inyuĩ rĩu mũngĩthuthuria ũguo na mũtuĩra tuĩrie wa mbere nĩ mũkuona maũndũ nĩ mambĩtie gũcenjia kaunti ya Kiambu andikwenda kwaria tarĩ kwĩyugĩrĩria tũrakĩyugĩrĩria kana kwĩgathĩrĩria. Kaunti ya Kiambu rĩu nĩ ĩgarũrũkĩte. Gĩkunga mwaka ũyũ wa 2024 ũrarĩkĩrĩra wa thirikari thĩinĩ wa Mount Kenya region ĩno yothe nginya Naikuru nginya kũguothe kaunti ya Kiambu nĩ ithuĩ namba ĩmwe harĩ andũ arĩa macokanĩrĩirie mbeca na gũciramata na njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire thĩinĩ wa gĩcigo gĩkĩ gĩothe tiga no Nairobi me mbere itũ na mbeca na matirĩ mbere itũ na mbeca Nairobi kũringana na iria mongereire harĩa marogotaga me mbere tondũ mena andũ aingĩ na kwao mbeca cirĩhagio nyingĩ no kũringana na percentage increase ithuĩ namba ĩmwe. Wa kerĩ nĩ mũronire thĩinĩ wa report ya control of budget ĩrĩa yoimire ciumia igĩrĩ hĩtũku bũrũri mũgima magavana 47 gavana ũrĩa ũmwe mĩaka ĩyo yothe ũtarĩ watonyia kũgũrũ gwake thĩinĩ wa ndege agĩthiĩ Rũraya nĩ Kĩmani wa Matangi. Tondũ nderire andũ tũgũtongoria na mũhiano na twĩke maũndũ ũrĩa magĩrĩire. Rĩu acio nĩguo mekwenda nao mamenye mekwenda marũmĩrĩre watho nĩ ekũnegenanga angĩrega kũrũmĩrĩra watho tondũ niĩ ndangĩhota kũnyenyenyia tondũ hau nĩ ndoimire hakwenyenyio nĩ andũ. Rĩu kwoguo kĩrĩa agwo nĩ gwĩka no athire arute mũgũnda ũrĩa ũrendekana wa mũingĩ na ũrĩa gũtigia igĩrĩ nĩ ndatigia nĩ ngaruta hĩndĩ ĩno na tũtanamahe rũtha rwa gũthiĩ kana thondeka hau hangĩ maigana makarehe rĩ onaguo noguo tũgathiĩ na mbere nĩgetha maũndũ maitũ makorwo magĩthiĩ na mbere na njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire. Harĩa tũtekũiguithania no kũgeria kũnjambia niĩ ta mũndũ tondũ nĩ aranjigĩrĩire igenyo nyingĩ na kũgeria kũrehe mbica anyitanĩte na ateti arĩa matendete ũthii wa na mbere na arĩa mendaga gũtũthũkĩria marĩtwa. Na nĩkĩo ndaiga nĩ ndamũhe kuma ũmũthĩ rũciũ ndĩmũkirĩre nginya wikendi akorwo ethuthuria ecirie na anjĩre sorry mũno makĩria raia-inĩ arũgamĩte handũ ũrĩa ararũgamĩte ira ige nĩ sorry. Arega kũnjĩra nĩ sorry nĩ tũkonana nake kũrĩa igoti-inĩ nĩgetha agakiuga tiga maũndũ maya monekana haha na marĩa ndamwĩra rĩ nĩ haha hau ndamwĩtirie mũgũnda kana etirio nĩ mũndũ ũmwe harĩa yothe marũgamĩte haha nĩgetha amanengere mũgũnda tondũ tũtingĩtĩkĩra rĩu ningĩ ukoloni wa kileo. Na kwoguo nĩkĩo twakĩrĩkanĩra ũguo nĩguo tũgũthiĩ bwana Gĩkunga na asanti sana. Approvals cia development ciao angĩkorwo nĩ marehe approval ĩrĩa mekwenda marĩkĩtie kũhingia maũndũ maya ithuĩ nĩ tũrĩheanaga approval tũtirĩ na gĩtũmi gĩa kwaga kũheana approval ona ĩmwe. We have every reason approval nĩ tũrĩheanaga na nĩ tũraheana cia mũndũ ũrĩa wĩtĩkĩrĩte kũrũmanĩrĩra na watho. Andũ aitũ nĩ mũĩ gĩtũmi kĩa approval icio twatũra na inyuĩ gũkũ nĩ mũronire ngĩingĩra thirikari-inĩ kũragwaga nyũmba o mweri nĩkĩo twambire kũgatha nĩgetha approval ikarũmĩrĩra njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire na ikarorwo na andũ magaka na njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire. Nĩ mũrona rĩu andũ nĩ mambĩte kũhorera mwaka ũrĩa ũgĩakwo ũrakwo na njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire. Andũ arĩa marakuire mwaka wakwa wa mbere manyũmba-inĩ makĩmomoka gũkũ Kiambu taũni Rwaka kũrĩa kũngĩ Rũirũ maũndũ mau nĩ mathiĩte makĩhoragĩra na nĩkĩo ndakiuga tũgũthiĩ na njĩra oro ĩyo na nĩ njũĩ Kiambu ĩno nĩ kwagĩra na yũke wega na andũ manjie kũheana gĩtĩo na njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire. Asante.
Why? Give me a reason. I protest because you're killing us.
Who is killing you?
You police. You're killing us in our communities. Poor communities. Why do you want to arrest me?
Yes.
People power! People power!
Unatazama Sound Candid Talk. Toa sauti yako usikike. Tuko bora kwenye mitandao ya YouTube, Facebook, TikTok na X kwa taarifa tendeti, udadavuzi mwafaka na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu. Tazama Sound Candid Talk upate ufahamu. Tunajipenyeza kwenye vitongoji, mijini na jijini kukuletea matokeo ya matukio kila yanavyoibuka.
Me to be a good example to the girls. The younger ones who are doing their first term, Mr. Speaker, if they are good girls, they'll never get corner office. Be as bad as Millie Odhiambo, you will be the mother of this house. I am a bad girl, and as a bad girl, I'm here serving my 4th term. So do not be cheated like the African culture where you are told have decorum, dress nicely, be kind, be nice. I'm telling you, you will go nowhere. Be a bad girl like me and you'll get somewhere. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I wish to declare my interest and the standing orders number.
Kutoka Mombasa hadi Kakamega, hii ni Sound Candid Talk. Kwenye kilele cha Mount Kenya hadi mabonde ya Keio Valley, hii ni Sound Candid Talk.